You can't make a good deal with a bad person. Just forget it. Yeah, if you think you can drop a contract that is going to work against a bad person, they're going to win. The one thing, they probably enjoy litigation, but Berkshire Hathaway as an entity, or me personally, or anything, we don't want to spend our life, doing that sort of thing. And besides, the bad guys win. They know more games. They may lose eventually, but it's no way to spend your life.
Man, what's up? Let's talk about, America's bad business policies. Um, I think going into contract with bad people is part of the American way. I don't agree with it. I don't like it. It's BS. But in the country that we live in, the vast majority of the deals that were made, and I'm not just saying business, but but contractual agreements that were made were broken. You know, if you think about the treaties with Native Americans, never honored. um, and what I mean is, when America does quote unquote contracts with everybody else, kind of like buying Mexico, not buying Mexico, but buying Texas, and like Texas to California. What is that? The Hidalgo, is it the Hidalgo deal? I think it's Hidalgo. To buy in Alaska. It's like, oh man, to the Louisiana Purchase. When America makes deals with other countries, it expects you gotta we made a deal. You gotta stick to the deal. But then it's a thing where nah, no, we not we when it's a deal that's fair for both parties, not gonna happen. I mean, and you can say they got that from Europe, from, the British, the Spanish, the Portuguese, the French. You know, that's part of their history with all the warring they got with each other. They didn't respect the agreements that they made with each other. So I agree with Warren Buffett that, like, you can't do. It's not good to go to do business with people like that. But unfortunately, in this country, that's how this country does business all across the board. Like, I can think of a lot of instances off the top of my head, even in current times. Like, that was an issue with Facebook. That was part of their breakup. Like Mark Zuckerberg being in power. If I'm not mistaken, that was the same thing that went on with either Apple or IBM. The same situation, or Microsoft too, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think I might be wrong with Microsoft though. But people went into business and didn't honor their contracts. I feel like, hey man, if I can make more money, let me push you out. I don't care what we have on paper. I mean, in the NFL, like when people look at the NFL, they look at that. That happens every year. It's a contract. Cut him. We ain't paying him. But if the coach get fired, we paying him. The irony. I think about people like in entertainment when they say they have these contracts, and if they getting overpaid, they just tear it up, or they don't have to pay it. You remember Dave Chappelle had that issue with Comedy Central. They were supposed to pay him um, royalties for the DVDs of the Chappelle show, and at the time when it happened, the Chappelle show wound up being the biggest selling like DVD for of all time for a show like that. It sold millions of copies at, if I'm not mistaken, $29, $39 a pop. So, instead of honoring the deal of the contract, you know, They came up with we're gonna give you resign for $50 million. when he had when contractually, if he had paid out what he was supposed to make, ironically, he would have probably had more money than that. But hey, man, you're winning on this deal, so that's how that goes. Um, and a lot of people say, and if you want to do this contractually, people do that with marriage. You sign the marriage license, and then people don't uphold the end of the deal. Like, you can't make a deal with bad people, but unfortunately, what I'll say about American uh, obligations or ethics or integrity or morals or business contracts or whatever, it's America rewards people for breaking the agreement. Not breaking the agreement if it's unfair to the person, but breaking the agreement if it's advantageous for a person to get over on another person. That's the interesting thing, you know. Even um, when people think of the way the law is the way the law is interpreted, it's so situational by people's own biases. So the law says this, but I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want because I can break that contract if I am a part of any part of the law, whether it be law enforcement as police or FBI, all that stuff, to lawyers, to judges, you know, forget that. To politicians, you break these laws all the time. Thus politicians have immunity. So you see people who contractually agreed to do certain things and go by a certain code and go by a certain oath, and these things are supposed to have consequences, but I'm in a powerful position, or in a power position, so damn all that, I figure out a way to get around it. And you have whole entities that say they're built to protect the citizens, but actually protect the people within those walls of that law if they break the law against the citizens. So it's like, and this can happen continuously, and this has happened continuously. So it's just part of America. Now, when Warren Buffett says, you just don't do business with people like that, it's a waste of time. Um, I agree with that because integrity is not an American characteristic. Has never been. You go back to slavery. Black people bought their freedom in slavery. Black people, ran for, and but the people that bought their freedom or were free, that's the idea. Show me your freedom papers. That's where that comes from. People would take those people's freedom papers, throw them away, ball them up, and throw them back in slavery. Now they got to escape, right? So it's this country never upheld um, contractual agreements. You see it with the government right now. Um, you might have treaties with other nations or alliances with other nations, and you just break them because I feel like it. Forget all that. I ain't got to do all that. It's like, oh, okay. And like I said, this is that ideology, that concept is so interwoven into what America is. It's ridiculous. So even people say I could sue you. Yeah, everybody could sue everybody, but the courts even are advantageous to people who are just um, unscrupulous, and do wrong the right way. Let's just say that. Well, technically, Technically, here we go again. So at the end of the day, man, also this is why this country is in a predicament it is now, because of these type of business practices. Don't worry about if it's right. This is what I want to do. Okay, all right, but contractually you're supposed to do this. Oh, F that. We ain't finna do it. I'm gonna do what I want. I want what I want out of the situation. Fine, fine. Now when you get what you want because you did it that way, because people have said that before. Person came up, they might have did some. They a shrewd business person. No, they're just a person who, when the contract benefited them, they stuck to it. And when they felt like it was fair or it didn't benefit them, they screwed the people over. So when another person feel like it's fair and I'm gonna be fair and I'm gonna handle my business, it's cool when they do it. But when you got to do it, f that. He's a shrewd businessman. No, he's a scumbag. But I'm gonna leave it at that. Tell me what you think. Like, share, subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Peace.